So today, AOC was live with Elizabeth Warren on Instagram, but I'm going to specifically talk about how AOC, Jayapal, and progressives in Congress are proving to us that Dementor doesn't work. And it's not enough, obviously, that they rig our elections, that they commit election fraud, that they change the rules, that they treat us like we're MAGA trolls. That's not enough. It's even worse when the progressives we have elected to Congress constantly capitulate to the establishment. And by capitulate, I mean they give in. They give in. Just like the Democrats cave to Republicans time and time again, whether it was the CARES Act or whether it's any sort of bill that really benefits the elites, whether it's the Patriot Act, whether it's the funding for the military industrial complex. Democrats always cave to Republicans and they don't really get anything in return. Then they pretend that they're so outraged by what they're doing. And recently, of course, AOC endorsed Biden. And AOC, of course, is one of the people that progressives had pinned as like maybe the next Bernie Sanders. And she said she would vote for Biden in November as well. So she's completely ignoring all the allegations, of course, that we're going to go into regarding Tara Reade against Joe Biden, and not just Tara Reade, but 7 other women. And a lot of these women have come out and have been very specific regarding what exactly is their accusations against him. But she hasn't really touched on that very much. She really gave the same old, oh, we need to remove Donald Trump out of the White House. And further, taking that a step further, she actually voted against the second bill for small businesses after voting for the first, which was much worse. And she tweeted about it here, basically talking about how Congress just voted for the first time in a month on a bill that doesn't address the core issues of facing working families. They then adjourned again until further notice. Someday and next time doesn't cut it. Struggling families need a timeline. And the problem I have with AOC really not really voting for this bill that is actually needed, we needed a bill for small businesses, is because she's grandstanding. This is like grandstanding. Again, you have to know how to spot grandstanding. They could have done something before. She didn't vote against the bill earlier, the CARES Act. She didn't vote against that. That was the big one, the huge transfer of wealth, okay, into the hands of the banks, into the hands of corporations that really just unleashed this whole situation. And instead of standing against that, really, and really voicing her concern against that, she is now standing against this bill. And in particular, to me, it's just grandstanding. Because if she really cared about the families and the poverty and what people are experiencing right now, she would have said something much earlier. And that's the problem I have. And I get it. Oh, I have to keep my position. I have to make sure that I get reelected. I have to make sure that I am still working within the party leadership so I can get some things done. That's the mindset that these progressives in Congress are coming from. But it doesn't do anything to us, because it doesn't do anything for us, because all it does is make it about them protecting their seat versus them standing with the people. And so what's the point, is my point. What is the point of electing progressives to the Democratic Party and electing them to Congress if they're going to call Nancy Pelosi Mama Bear, if they're going to delegate to the caucus leadership, if they're going to pretty much fall in line just like everybody else? Because we elected you and we promoted you and we built you because we want you to be opposition to the Democratic Party. We don't want you to be the same touting line Democrat that we're used to that hasn't done shit for us. Because if we wanted that, we would have just voted for the neoliberal. And while I appreciate all the tweeting and all the videos of anger and obvious discord with the party, that's just words. That doesn't do anything for the people. If you really are going to call yourself a progressive, you need to oppose the Democratic Party leadership. You can't just do it when the cameras are on. You have to do it all the time behind the scenes. And I just do not see it from the squad. And especially AOC has most recently been disappointing to me. And I really don't know exactly how, like, what to expect from her other than expect her to capitulate to the establishment all the time now. And I mean, I was a huge AOC supporter, fundraisers and all of these things for her. And it's just, to me, this proves that Dementer doesn't work, because what happens is they're going to try to be loyal to the party and party leadership to keep their seats. And that's it. And I really don't have that much trust in the next anybody else getting in under the Democratic Party, because what happens if they even do oppose them? They're alone. There's not enough of them. There's not enough of them, and I get it. There's not enough of the squad, but at least form a coalition. Use the people. They're very popular. AOC is very popular. She could literally use her popularity, her network, her platform to really urge people to work with her and highlight exactly just how corrupt the Democratic Party is. But instead, she focuses on Republicans mostly. And her focus on Republicans really does nothing to progressives, because the Republicans aren't the ones really fighting us right now. It's the Democrats. The Democratic establishment are the ones that are keeping us from progress. And another one that has, of course, capitulated to the establishment with zero mention of Trump's sexual accusations is Pramila Jayapal. Pramila Jayapal, who is wonderful when it comes to Medicare for All advocacy, who has really fought hard to make that something mainstream. She said, "Today, I am announcing my endorsement of Joe Biden for president of the United States." And she pinned this tweet. "VP Biden is a deeply dedicated public servant with the ability to unite the American people. I am moved by his compassion and ability to connect with people on the most human level." And she further goes on just pretty much propping him up, blah, blah, blah. "I started this campaign as an ardent and vocal surrogate for Bernie Sanders, and while I have not always agreed with the Vice President, Joe Biden, on matters of policy, I'm ready to work with him to craft and then implement the most progressive agenda of any candidate in history." And then she goes on to talk about Donald Trump. And the fact that she even says that Joe Biden, oh, here we go, "We are ready for a president who will encourage us to be as big as we can be with compassion and bold leadership. That president must be Joe Biden. I will do everything I can to help Joe Biden win back the White House, take back the Senate, and preserve our House majority. Together, I am confident we can build a more perfect union." This is all bullshit. This is all pandering. This is all platitudes. It's all symbolic crap. That's all they have, because guess what? She can't really talk about Joe Biden's policies. What policies of Joe Biden's are actually going to help the working people? She can't talk about that. So she can't even mention that. So all she has to rely on are platitudes. And it's really disheartening to see every single person you thought was a progressive firebrand, was a progressive, just huge progressive leftist that was going to take on the establishment. And then they just turn around and endorse Joe Biden, like Patriot voting Joe Biden, Anita Hill Joe Biden, Tara Reid, assaulter Joe Biden who wrote the crime bill, Joe Biden who voted for the war in Iraq, Joe Biden who worked with segregationists, Joe Biden who lied on national television about his record, Joe Biden who can't even keep up a normal cognitive conversation with somebody and has to have his wife speak for him. That Joe Biden. They're completely endorsing all of that. They're endorsing Joe Biden, they're endorsing all of that. Never again can the Democrats say Donald Trump is a sexist, racist, blah, 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 without saying Joe Biden is a sexist, racist, blah, blah, blah. And that's the hypocrisy, and that's what's going to get people to vote for Donald Trump. And I think the progressive wing of the Democratic Party is so naive to think that it's okay, they can push Biden, they're going to work. They're so naive. This is not how it works. They have zero leverage. Again, this really, really tells me that Dem Enter Doesn't work. What's the point of having them enter if these people are all going to be the same as the establishment? At the end of the day, when the decision gets hard, when things get really, really difficult, they're going to continue to vote with them. So what the hell is the point of continuing to elect Democrats, even if they're far to the left of the idiots we've had? There's no point. There's no point. So honestly, the people that say, oh, I'm Dem enter, I think they want us to leave. They want us to really get out so they can take over. They have taken over. You have absolutely no power, no leverage, and the people you put in there under that party are already done because they have to protect their seats. That's how they see it. I have to protect my seat, so I have to work with them. They're promoting incrementalism. They're promoting that sort of idea that you have to, craft this thing, this platform, and we're going to make it progressive. It might sound progressive, the way they're propping it up, but it's not shit. It's not shit. Change will not come from these people. It's not going to come from inside the party. It's not even going to come from inside the electorate. Change has to come from outside the electorate. It has to come from a mass movement of people that are pissed off, just like everybody is, taking actual action. Because these people are now, even the progressives, responding to party leadership over you, the constituents who voted them in. And that's not how this is supposed to work. This is not the way we progress. This isn't the way we do things. And AOC, like I mentioned, was in a live stream this morning with Elizabeth Warren having a talk amidst this whole debacle in New York. And she did make a tweet about it, saying that it wasn't right. But again, this is what I mean by grandstanding. Oh yeah, this sucks. This isn't right. Where were you before it happened? Where were you when we were talking about elections being fraudulent? Where is the Bernie Sanders campaign in regards to election integrity? There's been zero mention of that. Oh yes, this is unfair. Oh yes, the DNC shouldn't have done this or didn't want this. New York is bad. But what are they actually doing about it? Nothing. And so you would be completely stupid at this point to think that we're going to reform that party in any way, shape, or form in time for anything to happen to actually help the American people. We are in the midst of a freaking depression. Things are about to get worse. Things are about to get far worse. Small businesses are not making it right now. And this is only going to get worse. And this is all they're giving us. They're giving us live streams with Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren, who's at fault largely for Bernie Sanders' loss in many states because she refused to endorse him. She refused to really back the guy that supposedly had so much in common with her bold progressive policies. So, you know what? No, I'm done with the Democratic Party. All of us should be entirely done with the Democratic Party. I don't really know how you can save the Democratic Party. I don't really know how to me, it's self-mutilation at this, to be giving the Democratic Party any benefit of the doubt. And while I support people like Shahid Buttar and Jen Perlman and all these good progressives we have, that's it. After this, I can't. And you know what? And I urge you to donate to those people. But again, maybe they're seeing this and they're saying, wow, yeah, we really do need opposition. But really, every single time we put our people in there, I don't want to say the word sell out, but I don't know what else to call it. It's not that, it's like they're gonna do eventually what the Democratic Party leadership does. They're all gonna consolidate with Joe Biden against Trump. Yeah, but they're not consolidating with you. So I'm essentially done with them. I don't know what else to say. Johnny, you have anything to say?
Yeah, I mean, there's still these Democrats that are running, like Angelica Duenas, who Tina interviewed today, and that interview will be out on ROKFIN. I actually donated in the middle of the interview
because she's great.
I believe in her, and
she was a Green candidate before.
She's the only one. She's relating how the immigration problem is due to not a problem, but
foreign policy.
Is due to our foreign policy, but. And it's like weird because I'm Dem exit right now,
mm-hmm.
but then there's still candidates I support. So I don't know.
You can be an independent in California and still vote for the Democrats you like. But at the same time, I firmly believe we need to build outside the party, because otherwise we're just wasting our time. We're putting all our effort into people within the party. And I get it, you guys. I'm not saying that we're going to win anything by supporting Greens, but I think we're going to win by supporting Greens or whoever it is you're going to support. You build that party up. The real question we have to tackle is the election integrity issue. Because until we have fair and free elections, we're not going to be able to elect a Green. We're not going to be able to elect independents, really. You can count, we have 2 independents? Or,
it's like 2 out of 400.
Yeah, that's it.
Congress.
Because the system isn't set up to let these independents win. A state like Vermont has always been a little bit more independent. Maybe in a state like New Hampshire, this as well. But the majority of the system, the electorate, isn't really set up for a independent or a third party person to win. I've seen Greens win in city council and things like that. Yeah. But again, we have been putting so much of our effort in the STEM enter, get progressives in to infiltrate the party. The party infiltrates the progressives. That's what's been happening time and time again. We can't deny it. It's very obvious at this point.
We need to make them uncomfortable. I mean, this is... Do you see where we're at right now? We have no healthcare in the middle of a pandemic. People are dying. Bernie's giving up because he's trying to the Democratic Party is a mafia. You can't reform the mafia by joining from inside and trying to reform the mafia. You can't do it.